before, right? So literacy is not just reading. It's not just writing. It's a full set. It's a full set of skills that children develop over time. Okay, so let's get that out there. Literacy involves reading, it involves writing, it involves listening, it involves speaking, it involves viewing what the children see and also how they represent what they see. So it's a wide area, literacy. And that is why if your child is a member, you'll see that in our group sessions, for example, we delve into different areas. If you follow us on Instagram, you'll see that we have had animators on. We have had a whole lot of persons on because literacy has a lot to do with our experiences. And that is what I'll be getting into today. All right. So let's go now to our poll. I'll launch the first question and you tell me your view on this question. So let's see, first question. Are you seeing a poll on your screen? Yes, no, you can raise your hand if you're seeing it.
Yes.
Yes, okay. There are 6 questions to the poll. Let me know if anything is going wrong. For those who just joined, we're having a poll. Your take on some of the areas in improving a child's reading. Just see what's going on so far. We're almost done, I think. Just indicate if you're still in the process of doing the poll. Okay, I just got another submission, so we're still in the process. Just a few more seconds and then we'll dissect these questions. We're on the same page for the most part. Okay, that's good. Okay, so here goes. First question, reading happens naturally. Most of us said false. Reading does not happen naturally. Does anyone want to share why they think it does or does not happen naturally? Putting you on the spot. I'm sorry. Does anyone want to share?
Want me to put naturally?
Go ahead, Carlisha. Why, if you
I
think
can
it
only
happens
speak.
naturally, go ahead, sorry.
I can speak from my experience. Nobody teaches me to read. It just happens naturally. I just read, so I don't know. Just on my experience.
Okay,
So
all right,
I think it can happen
it
naturally.
can happen naturally. Okay, thank you for that. Anybody else want to share and then we move on? Okay, so let's move to the next question. We're going to look at that question in our presentation. Don't worry, I just want to know where we are, if we're on the same page. Okay, so as a child will grow out, as we call it, reading difficulties. So never mind if they have reading difficulties. That was the second question. And everybody said false. Okay, so a child won't grow out reading difficulties. We'll see that too. Learning to read starts in school. Most of us said no. Anyone want to share why would say it starts in school or why would say it doesn't start in school? Was that a trick question? Does it really start in school? Anyone?
Okay, me again. No, because I have two daughters and I teach them at home. I start
Okay.
teaching them at home. Yeah, and that's naturally where parents are supposed to do. Teach a child how to ABC, how to spell rat, cat, sat, mat. So,
All right.
yeah.
Very good. Okay, so we move on to our next question. Reading is a process, and everybody said true. At what age should children start learning to read? Most persons said at the age of 3. Some said any of the age groups are put there, 3, 4, 6, any of those starting points. Who has the main responsibility to ensure that a child becomes literate? Everybody said the parents. So for the most part, we are on the same page. Right? So let us get into our presentation. Oh, I'm just going to my chat. Alethea Dunn says the student needs to master certain concepts, which creates a platform for reading. Example, identifying letters, letter sounds, sight words, etc. Excellent. Okay, that sounds like a teacher. Am I right or am I wrong? Miss Dunn, are you a teacher, Miss Dunn? All the experts encourage parents to start reading to their children from they are in the womb. It lays a foundation for them to start absorbing and learning from infancy. Very good. Miss Hall, that's Miss Hall now. All right. Okay, so let us delve into our conversation. No, I'm not. I'm learning too, but I love that. Sounds like you do your research as a parent, and that's very, very good. So I'm going to share my presentation with you now. If you have any comments during the presentation, just raise your hand, virtual hand raise, indicate to me, and we will try to take the comments or questions as best as we can. But at the end of the presentation, that's when the time is reserved for questions. Okay? So let's move ahead. Congratulations. For what? You've just unlocked the first step in helping your child succeed at reading, and that is caring enough, right? Caring enough to seek answers, to seek advice about how to help your child. And based on what I've heard from some of the things I've heard from parents so far, you have been doing research into the matter, so keep up your great work. All right? So what will you learn today, or what will be emphasized today, the objectives of this parenting session? Awareness needs to be raised about the components of reading. What is reading? And the challenges that some children will face when they're to become readers. We'll also look at your role as parents and any caregivers, if you have joined, the role of parents and caregivers in contributing to a child's reading success. Okay? So at this point, I've defined literacy. So any parent wants to define what reading is. So literacy involves reading, but what is reading? You always hear about it. Go read a book. Go and read. What is reading? Anybody? What is reading?
I think, hello, good evening again.
Hello, Miss Kimberly.
I think reading is the enunciation of words, a child looking at a word and recognizing it by either like the letters, how to spell it, how to pronounce it, proper enunciation, yeah, comprehension, so not only spell and read, they understand what they're seeing or what they are hearing.
Okay. Thank you very much. I like how you added the hearing part because we
Yeah.
have ebooks now, right? So yes, that encapsulates what reading is. But let me tell you, I've been guilty of it. We pressure the children. Why you can't read this? Why you can't understand this? But look at this definition for reading now. Reading is a complex process through which we decode words to understand or make sense of printed words. Do you see I highlighted in red the key points? It's complex. It's a process. There's decoding involved. We have to understand, of course, printed words. So having to do with that. Is it easy to decode something? Does anyone here speak another language? Can probably show by a raise hand or so if you speak another language apart from English and Patois. Because yes, Patois is a language. So does any parent here speak another language or know another language, even if it's one sentence? Yes, no, maybe so. Okay. Auntie Levany. Okay, Kimberly. So was it easy to learn that language? Or know the one phrase or two phrases that you know in that language? Was it easy?
No.
Certainly not. Some people actually give up on trying to learn another language because it is too much. The brain has to work a lot to decode. Okay, this means that, that means this. Imagine when you're reading a word, all of that taking place at the same time. It is complex. So don't pressure them, but be a part of the process, right? So we look at the process involved in reading. So let me check my chat. Okay. No, I'm learning to. Okay, that was from before. All right, Carlisha speaks a little Spanish, Espanol. Okay, so yes, so codes, it's a puzzle and we have to put the puzzle together. So when we don't take it for granted when we're reading something, we're actually doing a lot at the same time. And so when children begin to learn to read now, we have to be patient and we have to motivate them and we have to speed up the process a little in how we behave. And you'll see some of that coming out later. Okay. So let us look at the profile of a good reader, or what we call good reading, versus a struggling reader or someone who is struggling to read. Let me just move this down here. Okay. So a good reader, a parent brought out before, reading involves letter sounds, blending. We hear our children doing that in school, blending. There are sight words. So words you build over time, and then you have the high frequency words. As you see these words, you're supposed to know what they are. So you won't necessarily learn the rules behind those words because it's complicated. They might be weird to pronounce, so you just have to know them. And all of that is involved in becoming a good reader. Also, good oral language comprehension. So you have to know words, you have to have a vocabulary, it has to exist. It's best when you have background knowledge about a topic. Parents, this is where we come in. Believe it or not, the teachers cannot teach our children all of these things. We have to come in, and you're going to see how we come in the process, right? When it comes on to struggling readers, they either struggle by word recognition that we saw earlier, the sounds. So when they see a word on the page, they have difficulties putting those letters together, right? So we call that word recognition difficulties. Also comprehension difficulties. And I tell you, this is having a rise, comprehension. Children have difficulties understanding. So they call in the words fine enough, but ask them what they understand after. Not much. So comprehension difficulties, that's another sign of someone or a child who is struggling with reading. Also, it can be mixed. So you might have some who have a problem with word recognition and comprehension problems. So both of them at the same time. So you know your child. Think about it if you see any of these signs, if you think they're doing well or you think they need a little help. The fact is we're not perfect at reading. Some adults will even make mistakes when we are calling a word. So we can all improve at our reading, right? So as I said before, it's a puzzle. It's like a puzzle. Language is like a puzzle. So we have to kind of crack that code in order to do well at understanding the language, at using the language, at reading the language, at writing the language. We have to crack the code. When it comes on to cracking the code, some of our children have problems they can't control because it might be a reading disorder. It might be a problem with their vision or their hearing, and that affects how they call the words, enunciate. You heard that earlier. It affects that. If you can't see the word properly, you can't call it because you don't know what is there. Vision problem. So we have to sometimes try and test our children, test the sight. Are they seeing what is actually there, or is it, another type of problem? Another difficulty that they might have in cracking the code is inadequate language skills or insufficient opportunities or experience. And we're going to look at those things later, right? Because that has a lot to do with the home setting. So let's look at two other problems, the difficulties that they can't control. And I'm just touching on these a little just for awareness. You've heard of dyslexia before? Anyone? No? Dyslexia? Well, dyslexia is a language-based learning disability. Okay, so it's not a problem with their eyesight. The vision is fine. They're seeing the page well, but it's not humming. They can't decode it properly because of something happening in the brain. Okay, so it might affect them reading and writing and so on because they have a problem with how things are on the page because of the signals being sent. Right? I'll test you now. How many of you can read what is before you? Can you read it? Just indicate in the chat or wherever that you can read it or you can't. Okay,
Yeah.
Kimberly, that's a yes.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. You can read it well.
Yeah.
All right, very good, very good. What about this one? Can we read it well?
Yep.
Very good. So your brain, you have passed the test. Your brain is working. But here's the thing. Let me go back to the previous slide. What is happening here is a reversal, a jumbling of the letters. Imagine if this is how you saw everything you read. It's mixed up, it's over there. Do you think it would be easy to just read for mommy or read for daddy if this is how you saw everything on a page? The words, yes or no? Would it be easy to read this to mommy or daddy? They can just pick up the page and just start. So that if you can read this, you have a, is it easy for the children? Yes? Oh, the chat is buzzing. No, no, no. Everybody say no. Miss Dawn, you say yes, it's easy? Or was that from before? All right. So it creates a challenge. That's the point. It's a challenge. So they have to, they call in Jamaica, we say them buck. Them have to buck a lot because they have to decode this. What is it saying? So we see WAHT for what? Oh no, let me use the order as a good example. This one here. OREDR. And the child is there. Ored. You understand what they're going through? It's a challenge. So they now have to decode and you there say, but the boy knows he says, oh, that is, him don't see the letters. Probably not. So the point is, if we see some difficulties are manifesting, we need to get the child checked. Don't be too proud. We as parents, sometimes we want to say nothing wrong with my picnic. But we need to get them checked because in earlier intervention is always best. Okay, so that's one problem. The next one is the hearing or vision problems, and we know what this is. But I'm just raising awareness that this might be an issue that your child is having if they can't hear or see well enough to distinguish these sounds or the symbols or that is letters and so on. They might have a problem reading the text properly. Imagine if everything you read looked like this, right? It wouldn't be nice. So if you have a vision problem and this is how it looks, you're going to need some help, right? You're going to have to put those words together, those letters where they belong to make it easier for you now to call what you see or enunciate what is on the page. With me so far? Hope you're not sleeping. We're okay? Are we good? Let me hear one person. Are we good? I hear see the chat now. Before I was saying I could. Okay. Well, we're all good now, right? We're okay. All right. So let us move on. So let's move on to language skills. Okay. So that's one area where we said children might have a problem in language skills because every language has rules. If you don't know the rules, you're not gonna be as fluent as you need to be. And imagine if you have to read and you're having problems with most of the words on the page. I kid you not, at the end of reading or calling out, struggling to call out all those words, you're gonna have a problem understanding what you just read. So it's a chain reaction. You know the rules, it improves your fluency. You get fluent, it affects your comprehension now because you don't have, remember it's decoding, you know, you don't have to spend that much time focusing on what is here. You know what's there. So now you have more time to think, okay, what does this mean? So we need to have our children build these language skills. So we go back to this slide. You remember, good readers, struggling readers. Good readers can decode, right? And you know, we have good, better, best. So improvement, always, you know, improving. They improve on the letter sounds, sight words, and you see it happening in stages throughout the school life, right? But we play a very important role in speeding this up. And trust me, some of us parents, we slow it down. We have to take responsibility for that because we don't give them enough tools and so on. I'm sure none of you parents here are guilty of that, but raise awareness. So you might know somebody else, you can assist with that. So now we go back to the first poll question. Was it the first? Is reading, does it happen naturally or is it learned? Miss Carlisha, you are partly correct. There are some aspects we are born communicators, you know. We're born to talk, to interact, right? So yes, you can teach yourself to read a little, but better readers, it's something that you are taught. You're taught these skills to improve. So it's a toss-up, but for the most part, better readers are actually taught how to read. You see where I'm coming from, Carlisha? Maybe
Yes.
yes, yes. All right. So we can, just like somebody can teach themselves to play the piano, can teach yourself to probably play 2 songs on the recorder, but to improve your skill set, somebody teaches you a skill or 2, you know, how to do this better, how to do that better. So we have to be a part of that process in teaching our children. So I'm moving into another section, but before I go there, I want to make sure we're okay. Any questions? We're good so far? To keep asking you, you know, make sure you don't doze off on me. We are okay. Because now, the section we're moving into is what we can do, right? And I'm going to read word for word what Miss Casey Carr says. She is the CEO of the National Parenting Support Commission in Jamaica, right? And maybe I don't have to tell you all, we are facing a little situation in Jamaica, in the world, with COVID-19, with a lot of stuff happening, you know, things have changed a bit. The children were out of school for a little, and there is some regression in terms of literacy, numeracy. You know, they fell back somewhat, okay, because they weren't in school, they weren't getting that push from the teachers. A lot of children, they're still okay because parents were on it, right? That is good. But here's what Miss Casey Carr says. Research shows that where parental involvement is low, are you hearing me okay, everyone? Just want to make sure. Someone said they're not hearing me. Are you hearing me? Yes, no? Just shout it out, please.
Yes, yes.
You hearing me okay? All right, good. All right, good. So research shows that where parental involvement is low, children are likely to not perform well academically and present antisocial behaviors in school because there is no accountability at home, and the home does not necessarily mirror what the school is saying. This is a lot to swallow. So the children not performing well, parental involvement is low. So the parent might not be involved in homework, following up what they do today at school. So they're not really, they say that the parents not into it, so they're not into it either. Children are not hypocrites, you know. So their academic performance suffers. They present antisocial behaviors. I know a lot of the times you understand antisocial to mean they don't talk to people. No, antisocial in the psychology world has to do with behavior. So they don't follow rules. They don't follow what the teacher says to them. Them have attitude like, can't talk to me. And we saw that happening a lot in Jamaica where children were beating up the teachers. And when the teachers think they can go to authority at home come and beat up teacher too. Right? So antisocial behaviors, they're not for law and order. And that is because it's not being pushed at home. So that's a problem because there's no accountability at home and the home does not necessarily mirror what the school is saying. So school might be telling them to do this for homework, they get it, go home, 1 week, still not done. You think that's right? No teacher having a problem and can't talk to the child because mommy and daddy say, miss, what happened to you? Okay, that might be a lot more in the bigger children, but it's possible in the younger ones as well. I'm going to play a video for you that I found very interesting. Right, it's a TED Talks video. I don't know who else is into TED Talk like me, but it's 7 minutes long, but it won't bore you because this gentleman, he's a teacher and he makes some interesting points. It might talk a lot about black boys. We can relate because we have black boys here. But the point to take out of this video is that children need something to associate their reading to. And I want you to pay as much attention as you can to this video. Let me see if it will play. All right, I might have to stop sharing and play directly from YouTube, okay? Just get that up for you. Let this ad pass.
Creating barriers.
Okay,
This is
so
why
let's go
I created Barbershop Book.
screen. So the title is How to Inspire Every Child to be a Lifelong Reader. Because we're coming into the homes now, you know. We're coming into the homes, so we need this inspiration now. Did you enjoy that video? Don't disappoint me now. Was it a good listen and watch? Tell me. Okay, Miss Phillips. Is it Miss or K Phillips? Okay. Alethea Dunn, yes. Seen in the chat. It's very interesting, that video, because it helps us to realize that sometimes we're doing it wrong. We want to tell the children, go and read a book. I'm guilty of it a lot, right? Go and read a book, and then we have to step back and say, but wait, him don't look like him enjoying the book. The point is we have to make it enjoyable. We have to build that love for reading. Okay, I will post the link. Let me see if this is the link I have. Oh, yes. All right. Okay, so the link is in the chat. It makes us think, can I do something a little different? Probably get him a book he will love or she will love. So we have to know our child. What are their interests? And I don't know if, okay, any of my pen pals parents can attest to it, right? If I'm in a private session and the child says, Auntie, this is boring or I don't like it, I can't continue it. Why am I teaching him the way he doesn't want to learn? I have to teach it the way that we make him learn. So maybe I have to switch it up a bit. Maybe I have to add a video. If the child loves a video, we have to do things that will appeal to their interests. Get them to be lovers of reading rather than reading it like a routine or it's work. they'll hate it. So we are building lifelong readers. So make that at least be the takeaway from today. Let me bring up the presentation once more. Oops. This is where we were. Okay, you should be seeing the screen shortly. Let me know when you are. I think you should be seeing it now. Okay, so let's have a chat now about the opportunities and the experiences we are creating for our children, for them to be lifelong readers now, right? Because that's where we are now, right? Our children will become lifelong readers. They'll read for fun. Wouldn't that be nice? You don't tell the child to take up a book and you just see him go over there and taking up a book and reading. What can we really do that? Or we have to be rich, right? As you can see, a wealth of background knowledge and experiences improves reading. Rolling cousins? Okay. Alrighty. And I'll go back to one of the poll questions. At what age should children start reading? Some said 3, and some said any of those age groups. 3 to 4, 4 to 6. But I'll tell you, it's none of them. When should a child start reading? The simple answer is as soon as possible. So can a little baby we just give birth to start reading? Believe it or not, that child from he's born will start observing the world to see what are the norms. So when you take that little baby and you lap that baby and you read to that baby, you, believe it or not, are actually teaching that child how to read. The child is now being exposed to literature, right? Let me stop sharing a bit and talk to you, okay? That child is being exposed to literature. They're seeing a book, they're seeing print. They know what is happening, not because they can't tell her, oh yeah, mommy, I like this book or I don't like this book. They're only saying goo goo gaga. They are learning to read. So that is why I also invited the expectant parents, because it's crucial for everybody to know from even before the baby is born, they can start reading. But once they're born and they're seeing well and everything, they start to observe what the norms are. And then they see mommy reading to them. Woo! They see the pretty picture in the book. The book look nice. Oh, they want to eat it, and some of them literally do. But they are learning about reading. So don't discourage them at that young age. Encourage it. Let them sit on your laps and read with you. As they get older, continue it. And some of them will say, oh, the boy, a big boy, this no man. And then read with him. I have an 8-year-old and I read with him just the same. You have to read with them. You can't just leave them, go and read a book by your own. Yes, sometimes I tell him to do that. But it's important for parents to spend that time from the child is born up until whenever. Maybe he's a big man married and you're still reading to him. That's a whole different story. But the point is, read with your child. So let's go back to these tips that you saw on your screen. Okay, and we'll go through them together. Talk to your child regularly. Notice in bracket, listen and respond. So let's visualize it. Yes, you're having a conversation with your little boy, John. But then John is answering you and John, you don't see me talking and you want to calm him down. I'm telling you, but you need to listen to John because John has something to say. How does this encourage literacy, reading? Because John will know from an earlier age. Remember we spoke about oral language. John will hear you speak and realize that it's a two-way process. And this goes into the books as well. The book actually talks to John. So John is understanding the world through the book. So John wants to talk to you, listen. And also, a very important thing that happens with you and John is that you're building a relationship. And this will come in, especially when John becomes teenager and start throwing them attitudes and all of that. Maybe from 8, because I'm getting attitudes already. So when John starts to give a little attitude, he understands that, hey, there is a relationship here, and maybe what mommy is saying could be true. So you build that respect, which will assist with reading down the line. Buy books and keep these books everywhere. So they're not only on the bookshelf, right? That's fine. And switch up the bookshelf once in a while, keep it funky. So you switch up the books. Oh, it's not that book there today, tomorrow. So John has to go now and look what's new, right? Keep it interesting. But keep the books in the car. If it's a baby that you have to carry a travel bag for, a diaper bag, you keep the books there too. So if you're at the doctor with the baby, read. Take out the book. Share literature. Create reading moments at home. Do you have a family night? Do you have a games night? Do you have any of these things you do as a family? Well, have a reading time where mommy, daddy, everybody read. And you'll see down the line why I said mommy, daddy, and everybody. Read on the go. This is especially interesting for very small children, but I've seen it work in bigger ones. You just have to know how to retrofit it for older children. Read on the go. So when you're in the bus, when you're in the car, whatever transportation you're using, you can actually read because there are signs out there. You play a game with John. The first person to find the letter A wins. You know how much fun John will have on that trip? Looking out. A lot of the children nowadays, we see them looking down, right? In the phone, in the tablets. It's entertaining. I'm not going to bash it totally, but please monitor their use of these devices. I'm sure all of your parents here monitor your children's meals. You try and make sure they're eating a balanced diet. It's the same with the tablets and reading or literacy. Balance it out, right? Monitor, make sure it's balanced. So read on the go. You're in the supermarket and little baby John, you want to show him the carrot. It says C is for carrot. That's teaching John to read. John is learning to read. He's learning letters and the sound carrot, right? Those little activities, try and find them. Research them on the internet or call Auntie Tudy. I'll help you out. Okay, so read on the go, offices, etc. Find some little fun activities to keep them engaged. Why I said mommy and daddy, reading with the child, family and friends. It's good if they're also involved, right? So caregivers, remember I mentioned it earlier, we leave our children with people sometimes, close friends, family, and so on. Get them involved, let them help out, or even an older sibling, right? Let the older sibling read to the little one, especially if they have the same book they can share. You know how interesting that will be? Big brother reading to me and he's here, I'm following. Even if they can't read, they think they're reading. Then they start telling you the story. Trust me, it can get really fun. Appeal to your child's interests, and that came out in our TED Talks video. You can't, he used the analogy of giving bar jokes at church, right? How weird is that? How weird is it to be talking to your daughter about maybe Cinderella and she ain't into Cinderella? Maybe she's into the truck cartoon, right? She might be different. So know your child, appeal to their particular interest, and don't say this is what I want you to be. Because in the head, they already know what they like, the interest, they love the beach. Yeah, them go beach. Read a story about the beach. And I'll tell you another fun fact, maybe you can even create a story with them about the beach. That will be interesting as well. So keep it fun. I said earlier to monitor the use of technology. We get that. Provide quiet time for reading. We get that checked. Very, 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 very important. And those who engage in reading discussions with me know how I get passionate about this one, about letting your child see you read. I'll pause for a bit. Let your child see you read. Children are not hypocrites. So when you tell them, go and read a book and you're not reading, wait. And they can't answer back, so they say it in their head. Oh, mommy telling me to read and mommy never read it. Or daddy, you heard what he said in that video. Black boys especially are, at risk. Maybe it's not black boys in Jamaica, but we know particular groups are more at risk, they say, because the truth is they don't see the men in their community doing these things, and so it's a chain reaction. Okay, so let your child see you read. Statistically, rich children, the richer children, tend to do better at reading and those things because of the opportunities that they get. We don't have to be rich, just be innovative and create those opportunities for them. If you can't do it by yourself, that's the last point. Get help, right? Get help. I'm not the only literacy club in Jamaica, but I love my children, so you can trust Auntie Toonie. But I'm not the only one. There are other reading clubs, book clubs. Get your child involved in something, right? And you'll see the benefits. Okay, something that works. Am I losing anyone? Are we good? Are we okay? Let me know in the chat. Yes, we're coming to an end. We're wrapping up. I just want to make sure you're okay. All right, chat is buzzing. Yes, yes. All righty, good. So, take away this reading acronym from this evening. Just minimize so I can see everything. So we have reading. R, read with your child. Plain and simple. Read with your child. E, explore together. Carry them out, even if it's walking down the road and looking at the tree on your road. Do something with them rather than leave them on the tablet. Do things together as a family, and it doesn't have to cost you anything necessarily. Okay? Carry them, go to the park, let them see the trees, the animals, something. It's building their repertoire of experiences and everything, and they can bring it back and improve the reading. Arrange the environment. So remember we said having books in the house, in the car, in your bag, when they're moving around. Arrange that environment. Create it for them. D, discuss ideas. Talk to your children. Hear what they have to say. Hear how they view certain things. I'm intelligent, They might be surprised at some of the ideas they have about life. You might be surprised, but encourage that outpour of thoughts. Sometimes they talk a lot, and they talk a lot of crazy things in that mix. Listen to the crazy things. Know what they're feeling about a matter. Include your family and friends. And never give up. So don't say I'm sick and I can't bother. No. Try. Get help. Never say him don't like reading and I'm not going to labor with him. Try. Change it up. But don't give up. And G, give praise for effort. So you know he has a problem with blending. Okay, you're working on it. But he pronounced that letter up in the paragraph well, and you're like, wow, Johnny, is that you? Good job. Give praise. And it was a toss-up between giving praise and getting help. But we know if we can't do it alone, get the help. So that's my reading acronym for you. All right. So a takeaway from today. To sum it all up, create the right environment to encourage your child's involvement. Notice involvement in reading and literacy activities. So it's not a one-off thing, but you have to get them engaged. And that's it. I wish you all the best. I hope you learned something. If you don't learn anything, remember, reading is a process. So don't rush the process and say, I want a reader. By the time he's 4, he should be reading fluently and this and that. It's fine. Children need to learn the process of reading before they enter school. School is not where it starts at home. But it's a process that you need to be patient with and doing the best you can. If you have any more information, if you need any more information or any updates on anything we're doing, you can feel free to visit our website, penpalswriting.com. I'm going to try and post the session today on our YouTube channel. Okay? And that's it. I leave the